Hey, you dorks, this is Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you are listening to The Dorkening.
Hi, I'm Brian Johnson, and although you probably accidentally stumbled across it and have no idea why you're watching it, you are in fact watching The Dorkening.
Hello, this is Tom Kenny, voice actor, the voice of the Ice King on Adventure Time, and SpongeBob SquarePants. Meow. Oh, Gary the Snail, too. Hey, guess what you're filling your eye holes and ear holes with? The Dorkening! Oh, I love the Dorkening. Very popular in Ooh and Bikini Bottom.
Hi, I'm Lou Ferrigno. You're watching The Dorkening. And you know what? You don't like me when I get angry, so don't get me angry. You better keep watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, this is Felissa Rose, and you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, it's Courtney Palm. We're shooting Death House, and you're watching The Dorkening.
This is Anthony Michael Hall, and you're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned. My friends are going to show you what entertainment's all about, baby.
The Dorkening.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Holy crap, we have a full house today. Welcome to Indie Creator Spotlight, and tonight we're proud to present Mark of the Witchworm. We're doing an awesome celebration for it. But as always, we have Patrick. How's it going, my friend?
It's going great. I just made it just in time. Just got here in time. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining. Philip from Dark Discussions Podcast. How's it going, my friend?
Good. How are you, Leo? I'm doing all right.
Doing fine. Before we get into introductions for the awesome people joining us, I want to let you know we do have a contest going on. So if you want to win your very own copy of Mark of the Witchworm and also a bonus book as well, check the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. We're going to be pulling a winner at the end of tonight's show. So roughly in about an hour. So it's the King Sumo link. Just click on that and enter in your email, and we'll pull a winner by the end of the night. And Patsy, would you like to introduce our awesome guests?
Oh, I would, because I know 50% of them. So first off, because I'm going to go in order of how well I know them. First off, from the Give Me 5 podcast, we have Mr. Greg Marcus. Greg, how are you this evening?
I am doing lovely.
That is awesome. I like your TIE fighter right next to, looks like
yep.
Batman there with the blue backlight. Very nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's this is the office that accumulated all of my stuff when the larger office got taken by the child. So,
yeah, I know about office accumulating stuff. If you just take a look behind me, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we have a gentleman whose name is familiar to me, but I don't believe I have ever met. He is author Chris Philbrook. Chris, how are you today?
I am well. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. I like your clock that is a shape.
It is wood.
Yes, I do the exact same thing. It's because it's mirrored, and I never know what I'm pointing to because I think what I'm looking at is what I'm pointing at, and I always do the wrong arm.
It also weighs like 700 pounds, so if it falls, I will die.
All right, well, I hope it doesn't fall. Oh, it looks like you're missing some numbers on there, too.
It's fallen before.
They're Roman.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So this was like a gift from Caligula. Up next, he is a podcaster for the Retro. Let me look at Retro Ridoctopus. I don't know. He is also a no, not this guy. Not this guy. I'm talking, of course, about the podcaster and composer. He is known as 8-Inch Alchemy.
Big fan of the ladies. Everybody, hi. How's it going?
The ladies love him. 8-Inch Alchemy. And that's 8 inches, 8 inches from the floor, by the way.
Right. I'm pocket sized. An 8-inch pocket, but a pocket.
Yeah. And finally, the reason we are all gathered here today, because not only is he a talented writer who is dropping a highly anticipated novel today, I am very excited. He is also a good friend of mine and just a world-class class act. He has one of the best mustaches I have ever seen. I like the fact that he's growing the beard out because he looks less and less like a gay magician. He is absolutely shredded. He is Steve Van Samson.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for being here. Awesome job with the intros as always, Patsy. But now they all think that Tim's name is 8-Inch Alchemy, which of course it's 8-bit alchemy. So I just want to.
It's okay. I have my name set accordingly.
Good. It's Patsy proof
to dispel any Patsyisms because really we gotta prepare for Patsy.
In Europe, a bit is the word for an inch. Yes.
Gotcha.
So I'm huge in Europe.
You're huge anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Ashes, your wife Ashes just said hi, and she misses my face, and I have another face here that I think she enjoys, which is this little guy.
Oh, Grogert.
My wife makes those.
We have one.
Pretty awesome. Grogert.
Kyle,
these guys.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. Just signed up for the book giveaway. Well, thank you guys.
Oh, here I am spending my money like a sucker.
You could have gotten it for free if you just followed the link.
If I just waited 4 months,
God, Patsy, if you could just follow the rules for once.
Potentially gotten it without paying. No, I got the super ultra mega edition.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah, we are not giving that away, but tonight we are giving away a paperback copy of the book in question, The Mark of the Witchworm, which I spent a ridiculously long time doing and writing and then doing everything for this release. And I don't know, like people like Chris Philbrook who do this sort of thing in his sleep. I mean, Mr. Philbrook, good friend of mine, just put out his 12th book, not ever, just in this current series of his, 4 concurrent series you got going, 3 or 4, plus some one-offs? Who can count?
Something like that. Somebody asked me how many books I've written the other day, and I was like, over 20.
Oh, wow.
And that's just this year.
Yeah.
They're very short. They're actually menus. So
I legitimately do not know how you do it, sir. It's amazing.
I go to bed and I wake up and there are books there.
He sleep writes. It's like a form of narcolepsy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all over the sheets and the pillowcases, but he's still writing.
And just real quick, also those who have entered are also gonna whoever the winner is gonna get a paperback copy of Mark of the Witchworm, and also my first book, The Bone Eater King, which is my look at that bad boy, much thinner than this new bad boy. Look at this. Look at this difference. Oh, there you go. You can see it. Oh, okay, I can't quite get it. There you go.
I was gonna say I don't know if it's coming across on the camera. The camera adds 5 pounds.
There you go.
There you go. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Angelina wants to know where you can buy the book.
You can lay them upside down if you like. You can lay them this way and read it, and it says my name a couple times.
But tell Angelina where to buy the book. Steve.
Yeah. In the United Kingdom.
In the United Kingdom, we will ship worldwide. If you go to roughhousepublishing.com, there's a banner at the top of the page there, and there are 4 tiers of the book. You can pick any one you would like. It goes all the way up to the Ultimate Edition, which has both versions of the book. We have so I don't know.
That one won't hurt if you get it in your
over...
eye. That's the No More Tears version.
That is the No More Tears, the Aussie version. Yes,
that comes with the Aussie album.
Because the road to Witchworm does lead to me. That's an Aussie. See, you don't get that one though, do you, Patsy? Because you think you're like surface Aussie, but you can't. Yeah,
I get it.
That's a good book. I like that book.
Good job.
I like that book.
Got some real fans in the house.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! It's signed and personalized. Oh,
nice.
Look at that!
Oh my goodness!
How much did you have to pay the author to do that?
No,
$40.
No, that's not true at all. Actually, and both books will go out signed tonight and personalized to whoever wins. So, and I always do sketches. So every little one will whoever wins it, you're going to get 2 books signed and personalized and little sketches that go with that particular book. Because that's how I roll. That's just how I roll. That's what I do.
So I just want to break in here for a second. So Angela, and for everybody else interested, if you check the links down below or up above, there's a link for Rough House Publishing, and the link to the novels, and brings you right to the page to place your order, and right in the show notes. And Steve,
Yes.
Could I ask you a favor? Could you turn down your gain just a hair?
Oh yes.
Thank you.
Oh, he's making fun of your baldness.
Oh,
how's this right here? Is this a little bit better? I do tend to be a little bit loud. I can turn it down more.
You're a little aggressive.
Try it now.
How about this right here? Blah, blah, blah.
Perfect.
That's
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
I was going to say something, but I'm not rude.
I project. No, I appreciate it. I don't want to sound like
Leo
complete
can be
crap.
very aggressive.
Known for being rude and aggressive.
Yes. And Leo, it's Angelina, not Angela. I want to make sure we get our fans who are watching at 2 a.m. across the goddamn separate continent.
What are you doing, Angelina? My God, what? Don't.
It's great.
This is not worth it. This is not going to be entertaining enough for you. Right? It's not.
Angelina
You need to sleep.
became my friend because she really liked my interview with Will Mouse a couple weeks ago. She was very excited.
Yeah, she tunes into just about every episode. So Angelina, I'm sorry.
That's a shine from my baldness for Kyle.
Yes. I have a question for Chris. Chris, you said, Steve said you have 12 books in the current series. Why don't you tell the folks what your books are about?
People often ask me what I write, and I pretty much just say I'm a genre fiction author. So I write a lot of horror, fantasy, and science fiction primarily. The big series, the one that most people who know me from, is a zombie apocalypse story that I started writing back in 2010. And it's up to its 12th book. And then there's a companion series that runs concurrently with it that kind of fills in the blanks of the stuff that's not part of the core story. And that's up to its 7th release. So there's 19 released titles under the Adrian's Undead Diary banner, which is basically like, the zombie apocalypse for people who laugh at things they're not supposed to. And that's the big one. I've got a 5-book urban fantasy series out as well. It's called The Reemergence. That one is the one that I hit the biggest sales numbers on, but it's not like my most popular series. I have a sci-fi standalone called Colony Lost, a 3-book epic dark fantasy series called The Kinless Trilogy.
Ooh.
And what else? I got the shelf is right over there that all my stuff is on. A couple of anthologies I edited. I write young adult science fiction under the pen name W.J. Orion, and I have 2 books out in the Dry Earth series, which is about the end of the world when all the water goes away. And a few other things here and there, but those are the big ones.
So it's like the opposite of Waterworld there.
Right, yeah, it's Dry World.
Oh.
There are no crabs. Well, actually, there are crabs, but
Oh, we got Damien from Perth, like where it's tomorrow, and this show isn't even live anymore. It's already on
Oh my
on
God,
YouTube.
you blew my brain just now. Damien, how's it going, man? Thank you for tuning in.
Sleeping is cheating. There you go. Angelina loves this. I would also like to talk to Mr. Greg. Greg, I am unfamiliar with your podcast, and I would imagine that there are some other folks out in the universe who also might be unfamiliar. Can you please tell us a little bit about your show?
Yes. So we, of course, are a pop culture podcast. You can possibly tell by the logo if you can see it. It's very, very nostalgia based. That's because I'm old. So nostalgia is a better way of putting that. 2 episodes a week. First of all, there's 3 hosts. Jimmy and Rob are the other 2 guys, and they're hopefully listening in right now. But we do 2 episodes a week. The first episode comes out on Wednesdays, and that is current pop culture stuff. We review books, movies, streaming, mostly streaming recently because we haven't been able to go anywhere. Music, whatever we can find. And then on Mondays, we release a terrible, crappy movie review with the occasional good movie review thrown in there. Stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s. This week coming up, I found out that there is a 4th Crow movie, which is not from the 90s.
Oh, it's so bad.
I know. Crow was my favorite movie, the first one. I'm not sure what I feel now after watching that. But that's coming up on Monday. And we actually have a semi-famous local wrestler from Florida, where we are, who is known for his giant crow tattoo on his back, but he happens to be a neighbor of mine.
Huh.
And I figured I would anger him by asking him to review the movie with me, because watching a guy throw people through doors makes me want to anger them and get them on my podcast. That's CJ O'Doyle. He has some fairly famous matches if you feel like Googling them or YouTube.
Can I?
Yes.
Can I suggest a movie for you to review?
The last one that happened, Steve had us watching Samurai Cop.
Well, this one is not quite the cinematic masterpiece that Samurai Cop is, but I recently watched Cowgirls versus Pterodactyls on Prime.
Oh man!
Ooh.
And I will tell you that obviously the acting wasn't phenomenal. However, I was very impressed with the stop motion animation used for the pterodactyls.
So it's hard to get a good performance out of a pterodactyl. You got to be a top-notch director for that.
I was kind of worried that they didn't use real pterodactyls for some of the scenes.
Yeah, there we go.
You couldn't tell. It
down.
was very lifelike. Very lifelike. I mean, I couldn't get through the trailer, but lifelike stop motion. I do love my classic.
I liked it. I liked it. It was some good stuff. It tried.
It tried. It did. It did.
It had heart.
Kyle is asking if you were referring to the ECW wrestler Raven.
No, this is CJ O'Doyle. He works in the Florida area. I think he did some stuff with NXT for a while.
Okay.
I have a very large amount of wrestlers that live in my neighborhood. I'm not sure how that happened, but
Did you choose to move to like Wrestleburg, or did it just happen that way?
No. I was actually here first, but I didn't. I was at the community pool, and there was the largest human being I've ever seen, and that was Babatunde, who had kind of a stint this summer. I guess he's like, I don't know if anyone here is a wrestling person, but it was just interesting. All super nice dudes, good family people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is the Give Me 5 podcast. We do fun stuff 2 times a week, and
where can we find you?
Pretty much everywhere, at least everywhere that's just audio.
So like Spotify.
Yeah,
Google,
and it's spelled out. You have to spell out the 5 though, because there was there's a group of stoners that use the number 5, and then they released like 4 podcasts and then quit, but they still seem to show up ahead of us.
If you they're just squatting on the name now.
Yeah.
Well, also, we do have the link in the show notes. So if people have an issue, getting a piece of paper and a pen ready, they can just go down and click. Kyle says, I'm a huge wrestling fan. That would be a dream of mine to have a bunch of wrestlers as neighbors.
Come to Orlando.
I love that you guys do the classic bad movies reviews on Mondays. I think that's the best thing. It's one of my favorite things. As you just said, we were talking about Samurai Cop, which is one of my all-time favorites. And it's just really fun for someone like me who loves crappy cinema. Yeah, great show.
Thank
you guys
you so
are
much.
awesome.
We have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
So since this is the Mark of the Witchworm party,
yes,
Steve, would you like to give a synopsis of your mastermind?
Sure. We skipped over 8-Bit Alchemy, but
don't worry about me. Let's get on to the
he's
book.
Awesome, and I'm on his podcast. So I basically told him he was going to come here tonight, and
I have no choice. I have to be here. It's a contractual obligation, and it is what it is.
I appreciate it though. I appreciate you doing exactly what I ordered you to do. That's nice.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not even mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even mad about it. But no, talk about your damn book.
Yeah. So my damn book. So first of all, these three dudes who are here tonight were very nice enough to have read the book before it came out. So they were nice enough to read it, give me some criticism, some reviews, some back blurbs. A lot of Chris and Greg, I believe, are in. I don't know. Maybe I used Jimmy for the blurb. Greg, maybe his was slightly better than yours. Like it was like this close, and I was like, can I put give me 5 guys on this one flap?
Oh, I wish someone would give me.
I noticed that you didn't use mine.
I was gonna say Greg probably is holding it against you.
Yeah,
I am.
You're around. Anyway,
I'm just gonna start blurting out spoilers throughout the thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. So my book is Mark of the Witchworm. This is labor of love. Took me quite a while to write. This is basically this is my third book. It's the first in the fantasy genre. I like to say dark fantasy, horror fantasy, grimdark. Paul McNamee's in the chat. He was asking me if this is grimdark. I wasn't super familiar with that term at the time when he first asked me that, and I would have to say maybe. I think it's up to you, but yeah, it's that darker side of fantasy where everything has that sort of medieval tinge where people are carrying steel on their side and swords and axes and all that good stuff. And there are dragons and monsters in this world. But this is sort of my deconstruction of fantasy, because a lot of times, you think fantasy, you think epic fantasy, you think Lord of the Rings type, you think, big epic quests, you think big. What does epic mean? Big, right? Essentially.
At least 8 inches.
At least.
So I qualify.
I mean, you do. You are epic.
You're right there.
I don't know if you're fantasy. You're got to be someone's fantasy. But if that's if that's the unit of measure we're using, then yes, absolutely. But so this is the opposite of epic fantasy. This is like a smaller story. This is I tried to sort of go the opposite direction on everything, and I think that a really good way of explaining it to a bunch of geeks, who I am a card-carrying member of that group, is this is like the street level Marvel. This is like the Daredevil and Spider-Man and Luke Cage dealing with bank robbery stuff, or maybe how to pay the rent, versus we're the Avengers. We need to stop Thanos from snapping out half the universe. So it's definitely a smaller, more personal story. What I like to say is if the group of characters in this book didn't accomplish the things that they all are trying to accomplish, the world wouldn't really be any different. It's not about stopping some evil god king or something like that. What we have is a main character guy who is just trying to save his son. So it's very personal. Everything is as dire as it can possibly be for him. no one else. Like no one else shares that quest. It's just he's trying to do this one thing. And then he meets a couple of people along the way, and they end up having their own agendas and their own things that they're trying to accomplish. And at the heart of basically everyone's character is this sense of family, where they're trying to do something that's very, very personal to them, and it's driven by a love for their family members. I think that was really important to me. We're going to make it small. We're going to make it personal, but I wanted you to fall in love with the characters and, really sort of be on the journey with them, be very invested. But, like I said, the world's going to spin on if they fail. So it's my deconstructed fantasy. That's what I was going for.
Awesome. We got a great question by Kyle, and we can run this to actually almost everybody. Raise your hand if you did not write a book. I think almost everybody wrote a book here. Just you.
Unacceptable.
I'm going to high five you, sir, though. I want to high five that hand. There you
go. No, I've never written a book, but I've written a couple short stories, but they were for college. But, I mean, I've read them at gatherings before. They're not horrible, but I haven't written anything in a long time. I write music.
Yes.
I'm a writer in that regard, so.
Yeah.
Write a music book.
Nothing.
Write a music book.
Ride a rock horse.
Ride
a rock horse.
Trek.
Yeah, that's it. Roger Daltrey.
Well,
Roger Daltrey is a centaur. Look it up. Ride a rock horse. Just do it. Anyway.
Fine.
So Kyle had a question.
He did. Where do you get all your ideas from? What inspires you to write these books? Who would like to go first? Don't all jump at once.
Chris.
Why don't you call on someone?
Yeah, but okay, Chris.
Ooh, pick me. I've never written a book.
A bunch of my books have come from dream ideas, where I wake up and it's like, wow, that was a really cool scene. And then if I can't shake the idea of how cool the scene is, then I wind up like putting more work into the idea, and it can gestate into a full story. Mostly it's just from downtime thinking. I see a situation or hear a situation or read a book or watch a movie that has something in it that makes me wonder, what if they did it differently? What if the hero went left instead of right? Or what if he or she tried this instead of that? And then if it's an interesting enough idea, then you just run with it and you start building and building and building and building. And if there's enough there, then you have a book.
Awesome. How about Greg?
I have not. I put my head down in shame. Instead of raising my hand. I just write a whole lot of 3D and motion graphics tutorials.
Okay.
Like a whole lot.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah.
It's not quite a narrative, though.
No, like click here, do this.
Okay. Do you use Blender?
No, I use Cinema 4D and After Effects and
very cool.
Cool.
All of that fun stuff. Oh, this is getting super nerdy now.
I used to play with Lightwave back in the day.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. How about Phil?
I basically am not a fan of the establishment, so I get my ideas from that, basically. So basically, if you don't like something, you turn it into a fictional piece.
Okay. Patsy?
I write stuff sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes I just come up with ideas. Usually it's just, like putting a couple of words together, like Amish and zombies. I wrote a short story earlier this year about an Amish guy who goes out and just fights zombies in his little Amish neighborhood. I don't know. Sometimes you come up with an idea, like, Chris was saying, you can attempt to make it into a book or a novel or whatever, but sometimes there's just not enough there. So sometimes that's where my 2-sentence stories come from. I don't have enough for an entire book, but I have enough for, a little bit of, you love my Bengals helmet. It's Chad Ochocinco. or Johnson, whatever the hell his name was at the time that he signed it. Sometimes you don't have an idea, so it's a short story, or it's a horror haiku, or it's, something that's just not a full-fledged novel, and it turns into something smaller. But if you just write the ideas down, sometimes it turns into something. A lot of times it doesn't. So,
Steven?
So I think for me, it's kind of what Chris said. One of the things that Chris said, where, if there's something that, I like, what I try to do is something will strike a chord, and then I'll say something simple like, say, vampires. So my first 2 books are on vampires, and it's like, all right, well, vampires are cool, but a lot of times what I'll do is try to like challenge myself to be like, well, all right, vampires are cool, but they're overdone, or zombies are cool, but they're overdone, or whatever. Like, how can I do something that's like that, but different? Like, what hasn't been done before? And I try to, deconstruct. I guess that's just kind of what I've done a lot of times. Witchworm is the deconstruction of all epic fantasy pretty much, but Bone Eater King is just a different way to do a sort of post-apocalyptic world where it's that, okay, it's vampires, not zombies, but that's been done before. Obviously Richard Matheson did that quite a while ago, and it's been done since. And but then it's like, all right, well, what could be different? What's something else? And so for that series, I ended up setting it in Africa. And I specifically wanted to make sure that the main characters of the story were people who lived in Africa. So, I was like, well, a lot of times, because my stuff is on the pulpy side, the adventure. It's always got the sense of adventure to it. And, you're going from place to place, discovering things, lost civilizations, that kind of sort of a thing. Like pulpy. I love that. And I don't know, with that one, a lot of pulp that was set in Africa has not only aged poorly, but it was always like stranger in a strange land. Like, white man travels to Africa, sees all the crazy sights, and everything's so different and so unknown and all this stuff. So I wanted to make sure that this was nothing like that. And it was just a matter of, well, I want to set this in Africa and have it star these people who live there, a Ugandan lady and a Maasai dude. And, just, so it's like, I hadn't seen that before. There's a story that inspired it that was a vampire story set in Africa. Robert E. Howard wrote The Hills of the Dead. I always make sure to mention that because it's really what put the idea in my head. And then so it's like, all right, well, if that's going to be my chief inspiration, I got to make sure that no matter what, I'm not copying. I try to figure out what the kernel is of that story that made me love it, and not copy any specific like concepts that they came up with, but just try to serve that original idea. Like, so my story scratches the same itch basically, in a different way. That's what I always try to do. And so it's something that's, right in a genre. I love spec fiction. So horror, fantasy, sci-fi, like all this kind of stuff, I think is pretty much where I'm going to live for my writing life. And it's just a matter of trying to figure out what the genre is. People can be like, oh, I like that kind of stuff. And then twist it and put a spin on it that
Steve,
they
if I
hopefully
could
haven't seen before.
If I could interject, Steve. So the vampire books are, when you say Africa, do you mean sub-Saharan Africa or Arab Africa?
So the first book takes place in Tanzania.
Okay, so sub-Saharan.
And the second book takes place in Kenya.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
You should have said, "Can you guess where the second book takes place?"
I should have said that.
But that's why we have you.
Back in time.
Yes, miss out on the golden opportunity.
Dang.
This is what you're for, though, Patsy.
I know, but he said it before I could, so now I just look like I'm,
Let me ask Steve some further questions. I'm not sure if you've ever been to those countries. If not, how did you do your research to make your books actually feel as if they came from there? Because I'm just curious, because I know a lot of people write books that take place in Europe or something, and they've never been to Europe either. But I was curious how you were able to go about doing that.
Sure. So the answer is no, I haven't been there. I would, certainly love to go there. There's even a Maasai camp you can actually go to and, spend a few days with the Maasai, and it's insane, like how awesome it looks. I would love to do that someday. Absolutely. But not financially responsible decision at this particular point in life. So how did I do it is really just a lot of Googling. What I really tried to do for the most part was get the geography right. So that was like a really big concern for me. So, a lot of satellite images, just a lot of, Google Earth sort of stuff. It's amazing, that everybody goes on vacation, they take pictures, they upload them to Google. You can really get a pretty decent snapshot of an area if you can't go there. Just get the terrain, figure out what everything looks like, and then it's a matter of what's there, what can I use? So it's not me inventing stuff that's not there, except for the vampires, of course. But everything that's there, every building in this book, in both books, actually, every building, every mosque, every church. There's a big GM plant in outside of Nairobi City in Kenya that features very heavily in the first book. There's a lot of stuff there, and it's just like time. It just takes time to sift through pictures and learn what's there, and then there are other things like landmarks that I didn't know were there. There's a big monument that it's a natural rock formation in Old Dubai, which is at the cradle of life. That there are a lot of people who think that life truly began in this particular section of Tanzania. I think it's Tanzania at this point. It's been a few years at this point, but yeah, it's there. There's a giant monolith, a big, like, huge rock. It's bigger than this. It's bigger than 8 inches. And it's in there. And then okay, so here's this might be interesting. So then I couldn't figure out how tall it was. I've seen pictures of it, but it's always from far away, and it's really hard to figure out the scale when the only thing around it is like miles and miles of open, like, land, and there's no buildings, there's no people. And so for the longest time, I'm seeing this as like Statue of Liberty sized in my brain, and I'm like, what if I'm completely wrong and this thing is just like 15 feet high or something? And so I'm trying to find, any place online that has this dimension of like how big is the monolith in Old Dubai. And I absolutely could not find it. So what I ended up doing was I found there was a guy who had uploaded a bunch of images of it. And he was just a gentleman from England who had been there on vacation, and he took a ton of pictures. He was a amateur photographer. He sold prints and stuff, and I contacted him, and I was like, "Hey, man, so you don't know me, but I am writing a book on this monolith, and you've been there, and I literally cannot figure out how big this is. Is this like 2 times a person, 50 times a person?" And he's like, "Oh, it's really big. It's probably about 100 feet high." He didn't say feet, but I figured it out. But it's big, and I'm like, okay, cool.
More than 8
I just
bits.
felt like being like I was so worried that I would describe a Statue of Liberty and it would just be like 20 feet high or something. I don't know. So I had to find out.
Facebook user for Tim says you could write literal scores of music books. Damien had a couple items about your helmets. I love your Bengals helmet. And that was his dad's favorite team. He used to Empire until he passed away in 2013. Ash has had a question. Is there anything specific that you do to get yourself in the mood to create, like music, ambiance, libations?
As for me, I cannot listen to music and write. I know every writer is different, and everybody says they have their certain type of music. I just end up paying attention to the music. So I have to have silence. It's usually at night. I get the most done, and I will just shut myself in and just put the blinders on and just go to it. What about you guys?
I will listen to music, watch movies, drink boozes, like, say, this root beer that doesn't belong to your dad. I will, just... Somebody's got an echo and it's throwing me off. I have very severe ADHD, and I prefer to keep my concentration on what I'm doing. So I will keep my the part of my brain that kind of wants to just run off and chase squirrels occupied by watching a movie while I'm writing. I think the best example of this was I think it was 2008. I wrote 250 pages over 46 hours straight while watching the first 3 seasons of Lost.
That's some mental gymnastics right there.
Break your brain.
But that's how I don't want to medicate myself. So if I want to be able to pay attention and focus on my task at hand, like, it works wonders when you work at home and have zero supervision, and you need to get work done by a certain time. So I'll throw a movie on, I'll throw music on, and like, I'll find myself singing along to songs and not realize that I'm even listening to the songs while I'm writing. It's just the way my mind works.
What about you, Chris? What gets you in the mood to write?
Coffee. If I don't have a cup of coffee with me, it's not actually a writing session. And for me, I have to like circle the wagons to get back into the cycle, the flow state. So I go back and I listen or I read what I had written the last time I wrote, and I go through it and try and slip into the groove. And that way, when I finish reading what I just wrote, I can just continue. That way I don't have like an interruption in my train of thought. Like, one of the things that throws me off so bad is when I get like interrupted in the middle, because then I have to go back and like reread and check and where did I finish that sentence and where was I going? And the worst thing for me is like a half-written sentence. Like that, just like I need to medicate for that. Music is usually pretty consistent for me too. I like writing to music without lyrics. If there are lyrics, like Steve said, I just start like singing along to the song in my head, and then I find myself writing the lyrics that I'm listening to. So I listen to a lot of like orchestral music and EDM and stuff that doesn't have words.
Should write to some 8-bit Alchemy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all available on YouTube. Sure, it's not distracting at all.
On the tubes of you.
If you write anything listening to my music, let me know. Drop me a line.
I will.
I'll take some pride in that.
Well, he'll also send you a bill.
No bills. Just if you want original stuff. I guess I'll throw my hat into this conversation as far as not writing actual prose or anything, but as far as writing music for me, I think one of the biggest things that help, obviously, when inspiration strikes, you kind of have to just go right to it and start putting your ideas down in any kind of format, whether it's like recording something on my phone or whatever, just in the spur of the moment. But I think one of the biggest things that helps to get the creative juices flowing is actually taking a break which sounds kind of, backwards, but like sometimes you're trying to force it. And I think that when you can take, a minute and, walk away from something, think about it, and then you end up, coming back the next time around totally refreshed with new ideas. And, before you know it, you've made way more progress than you would have if you, banged your head against something for another 2 hours the first time that you tried to write something down. So I think that for me has always been helpful too, is not to try and force anything.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's true for me writing prose too. If it gets to this point where I'm really frustrated at a certain part, I find that if I force it and I am forcing without inspiration and it feels a little wrong, but I'm like, no, I gotta push forward. I end up not keeping that stuff. It's always like, gotta feel right, gotta have that aha moment, or like, yeah, this is it. Yeah. Like I gotta have the smile on my face of like, oh, I like this idea. Okay, yeah. If I don't, it's just bland, and I'm not interested in writing bland. So, the moment has to be right and stuff. But yeah. Hey, so it's 10 minutes of 9 right now.
It is. So I want to remind everybody, we do have a contest going on for Mark of the Witchworm. You'll find links in the show notes down below or up above. And it's the King Sumo link. It's right at the top or right at the bottom, depending on where your video is. And make sure you go there and fill out. You just need your email address and then hit submit. There's a couple of different ways where you can get different entries. But at the stroke of 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be pulling a winner. So get there and you get a chance to win one of, or actually 2 books.
A lot of euphemisms in that announcement there, Leo. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's very unlike you. Have you been drinking?
No. Gatorade, coffee.
Mixed together. Yes. That's delicious.
Yes, the answer is yes. Then.
I was going to say, to kind of piggyback on what Steve was saying, if you have to force something like that, it's the literary equivalent of hoping that it's just gas and it turns out to be diarrhea. I find, and I don't know
eloquently if you guys, put, Patsy. Eloquently put.
I don't know if you guys get into this, but I find when I'm really engrossed in reading, as well as when I'm really engrossed in writing something, I no longer see the words on the screen or on the page. I am seeing the action that is happening in my head, and it's just kind of flowing through my hands onto whatever implement I happen to be writing on, whether it's a notebook or if it's some sort of word processing document. Is that something that you guys do, or is that just the fever dreams I have of my diseased mind?
I think it's your the second thing. I think it's your diseased mind. Yeah,
it seems accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I find that when I'm reading something as well, like I'm no longer reading the words, I'm seeing the story in my head.
That definitely happens to me. If I'm reading something, like there'll be times where I am trying to get into reading a book and not, necessarily being in the mood for it. And then there's other times where you kind of just hit a stride. You've read like a chapter, 2 chapters, and like you said before, it's like I'm not thinking about reading the words. The words are just like going through me, and I'm just like envisioning all of it. And those are like the best, most engrossing sessions that you can have with anything, but definitely a novel, because you're not even thinking about the act of reading something. It's just sort of happening. And I think that's really cool. And honestly, toot, but something I've had happen when I read Mark of the Witchworm, because there's a lot of good descriptive, like scenery. There's a lot of good motion. There's a lot of words to help you picture what's going on, and you're not really left sitting there like kind of having a hard time imagining stuff. And I think that's one of the best things that a book can do when they're creating like a fantasy world, is to describe it in a way that is so tactile that you just can kind of be there and you can kind of feel what's around you and feel what the characters are doing and everything like that. So I think Steve, to your credit, I think you did a really great job with that. And if you're a fan of action and you're a fan of obviously world building, but definitely like that tactile sense, there's a really good sense of that here. and that helps put the reader into a world better than anything else for me, I think.
How about you, Chris?
With Steve's book,
when you're writing, when you're reading, like, do you have that experience?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Angelina, just like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to echo the idea that when I'm writing, if I have to like work through something, universally it's the stuff that people tend not to like. But when I sit down and I'm like jazzed and pumped and I'm excited to write it, and I'm getting this great sense of satisfaction about a chapter or a scene or whatever, that's the stuff that really resonates with people after the fact. You know, those are the scenes or the parts where people will reach back out and be like, dude, that fight scene, or, oh, that conversation between these two people, that's the stuff that people tend to gravitate to. So I know, you know, when I'm writing and I have a moment like that, or at the end of the day, I'm like pumped about it, you know, that's a good writing day. And then there are sections of books where it's just like, shit, I got to write this chapter. All right, cool. All right, whatever. We'll get it done. Fine. Turn the music up, whatever. And at the end of the day, that's the stuff that, like, you know, if you got to mail it in, you're not being passionate about it, and people just aren't going to feel it. I mean, that's just the truth. And you're living it, you know. If it's real for you, it'll be real for them.
Totally.
Yeah, when I'm doing anything on my creative world, I sort of I allow the music to, whenever I'm listening to music, I'm like, okay, how would I visualize this? And I let that kind of flow through, and I, you know, do whatever graphics and motion stuff. And a lot of my stuff is just sketches because I'm primarily a college professor teaching, so my stuff is not, you know, going out to mass consumption. It's like, how am I going to be able to show other people how to do this stuff? But a lot of times that's, you know, my inspiration does come from music, as well as the books as well. I know someone mentioned that already. We are also, I believe it seemed like we were underselling the Bone Eater King, which I am almost done with, the first of the previous books, and it is fantastic as well. So any of you out there that didn't hear enough about it, it's very good.
Thank you, man.
So Ashes, it's like you're reading my mind. So I want to remind everybody, we are talking about Mark of the Witchworm, which is available now, and there's a link to Rough House Publishing down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, where you can click the link and buy it. We urge you to buy it. But Ashes was asking, for those of you that have read the book already, what was your takeaway, final thoughts from it without giving any spoilers? Let's start with you, Tim.
Sure. So, I mean, I actually have an interesting take on this book because I read it in full prior to its final release. So the book has actually undergone some pretty substantial edits since then. So as for the book that you all are about to read when you get it in your hands, I can't say for sure. But my final thoughts of the book was that there was so much to the world, and the fact that the story was so personal and so small, you both kind of appreciated that, but also could very well read a book immediately that was much broader in scope. I think that the book creates enough of a world that I would want a larger journey, but I think that it's also its strength that it was a smaller one. So I think that that's definitely a takeaway. And yeah, I really liked the alchemy part, which is a surprise. That's kind of weird, right? But yeah, I thought that the attention to detail with the character, the alchemist in the stories is fantastic. Love a lot of the background elements there with him, and yeah, I'd say great characters, great world building.
Awesome, Greg. Same question.
When I first talked to Steve, while I was reading it, the thing that really struck me was just the economy of wording on things. Now, I've told him this, and I've mentioned it on my own show, and I'm not a big fantasy reader. And part of that is the world building takes so many pages. And whenever there's a banquet, they have to describe every single thing that's eaten and so on and so forth. And there's so many character names and all this, and my mind just wanders. It's not that I don't like the ideas of fantasy, but my mind will be like, what do I have to do? Oh yeah, I needed to go do this thing and that thing. So when reading this, and we are recent friends, but we're friendly, and someone says, hey, can you read this for me? I always get a little worried because you want to be honest. So I started reading it, and I loved it. And this is coming in. And then I was worried again. I'm like, well, I'm not a big fantasy person, but I like it. Does that mean it's not good fantasy? But it is. It's great. It's a great book. I had a great time with it. I also ordered the Super Splendiferous pack because I liked it so much. And it's as he described. It's a great adventure. You learn the characters without having to be told. You learn the characters by their actions and what they're doing and where they're going, not by someone saying, "Oh, that person's smart and that person's funny and that person does this and he's brave," and whatever. You learn it by them being smart or funny or brave or good parent or whatever. So, I guess that would be my non-spoiler review.
Okay, Chris, same question.
The first thing I thought when I finished reading the book was, I can't believe the dude I met at an orgy wrote this. No, but really, my first thought was, wow, Steve wrote that book and it's really good. And I remember feeling like a bit of pride, like, wow, this guy wrote a really badass book. So like on a personal note, that was my first takeaway. The book is just good. The world is lived in, and Steve's been really self-deprecating, saying that the scope of the book is really small. It doesn't matter what happens to these, the world, if these people die off. But the story is about a small group of people who overlapping like a Venn diagram, and the events of Mark of the Witchworm are their entire world. And you get so engrossed in their needs and their desires and their passions that it doesn't matter about the rest of the world. Great world building, sure, wonderful, but what's going to happen to this guy's kid? And you just start rooting for these people, and they're very well developed characters, and it's just a big theme of the book is parental responsibility. I'm a father of two, and I remember halfway through the book reading to myself, yeah, this guy's definitely a dad. Like all those feelings of like the fear and wanting to take care of your kids and just wanting to protect them, and then you see other kids who are vulnerable that you want to protect, and you change your plan, and you say things to people you might not say to stand up for kids and whatnot. And the book is very authentic in that way, and it resonates big time. So my big takeaway is that it's a very just genuine, authentic, powerful read. It doesn't matter what fantasy you're talking or what genre you're talking about. It's just really, really good characters having a really tough time and pulling together and saving their world.
Awesome. So we are going to be pulling the winner shortly. I just wanted to let's see if I can share my screen.
Before we do that, I just want to say
sir.
thank you all so much. Making me misty here. A little bit of dust there.
Little marrow dust.
A little marrow dust. That's this one. A little marrow dust. But we it's only been mentioned briefly. There are some cool versions of the book that are on Rough House Publishing, and my partner in crime, Derek Rook, would slap me in the back of the head if I didn't. I mean, figuratively, with a figurative slap, if I didn't mention that. So we have an exclusive hardcover that is limited to only 150 copies and comes with a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff. And that is, you're going to get that starting with the premium edition, which starts at it's, I believe, $39.99. And there's also one tier above that it basically comes with that, everything, and plus also you get the hardcover, and that is $49.99. But there are, cheaper options too. The paperback is only $15, I believe. I think we did $15.99 on that. And the audiobook, there's also an audiobook, which you get all that stuff with the higher tiers. But the audiobook I actually produced and recorded myself. So it is a little punk rock, not quite as polished as some audiobooks you've heard. Like, so it's not a Philbrook production per se, but a lot of heart went into it, and I did all the voices, and I hope you guys who listen to it enjoy the hell out of it. It was the first time I've ever done this before, and it was really fun. But anyway, so I have the hardcover here in my hands. I don't know if you want to put this up, Leo. So this is a completely different cover. You know, you can see the other one we wanted. This is the main character. His name's Rander Belmorn, and he's riding his horse into this. You can't really see the light is kind of blasting it out, but it's the snowy landscape. He's just going into this dark forest, and there is horror in this book. And he's surrounded by all these sinister eyes in that picture. You can't really see here, but you can check it out online. But this was just basically, let's do a balls to the wall battle scene with the main character and the titular witchworm, which is the beast. Damien says he loves dragons. This is definitely a dragon-like character, but it's different. It's called the witchworm for a reason. It does have some unnatural abilities it's able to do. But so this, just to see, it's actually a wraparound piece. And hold on, it's weird. It's like Patsy was saying, I'm pointing to I'm turning it the wrong direction because everything's mirrored. So you got this big, beautiful wraparound piece. The artwork was done by a Munich artist named Rene Eigner. Awesome dude. I've worked with him previously he actually did the 2 covers of my old band, Enchanted Exile. He did our 2 album covers, and he's just a really great dude. So he actually did a suite of images for us. He did the front cover of the standard edition, and actually there's a back cover as well. Now it's covered in text, but there's the other. See, I used the wrong hand. The other dude over here on his horse is actually the other character. This is Crow, and he's going towards the witchworm up here, and that was another piece. And then he also did this big, huge wraparound. And what's really cool is underneath, if you take this off, because we spare no expense at Rough House, there's actually the book itself is pretty cool. So Mark of the Witchworm.
It's beautiful.
Rough House Publishing. This is the very first ever Rough House novel. And this right here, this is the I can't even find it. Like, where is it? I don't know. Rough House Pulp. It's a new imprint for the company. And this is the very first book. So pretty cool. It's got that snake skin because, you know, it's basically like a snake dragon. And it can do some other stuff. So pretty cool. So there's that, but there's also a bunch of extras you're going to get. So there's a poster. There's an 11x17 poster that comes with it. One of the sides is actually on that on the Rough House page. If you go in, there's also an article. It's a big press release, and there's a ton of stuff in there, and you can see pictures of all the goodies that comes with. And one of them is actually the back cover, so you can actually appreciate it without all the text. It's the actual picture of it, and it actually has some of my own drawings on the bottom as well. And the other side of that poster is an original Derek Rook piece that was just revealed last night. Derek Rook revealed it last night on Facebook. And for those of you who have seen this, I mean, back me up here. It's nuts.
It's fucking glorious.
Yeah, I think it's insane.
It's got the style. It's got fangs and yeah.
It's a big battle scene done in what he was going for is trying to go for like that classic Marvel Godzilla from like the 80s, and he wanted to do a big kaiju battle. And there is one other creature in the book that does do battle with the witchworm and stuff. So I don't want to give that away, but it is there. It's in the picture, but I'm not going to say it. You're also going to get this bad boy right here.
Oh, that's so nice.
This is an enamel pin. It's 2 inches across. It's freaking beautiful. You can see, I'm going to turn it just on the side. It's actually pretty thick. It's pretty heavy duty. And on the back, you see Rough House Pulp right there.
It's epic.
So these were done by a company called Metro Pins, and we are just incredibly happy with the result. Very, very professional. Very, very heavy duty, nice enamel pin. You guys are going to get that as well. There's also a few stickers and something we just decided on. We haven't even really put a picture of it online or anything like that, but we had some bookmarks of the Witchworm made. We're going to throw in a bookmark for everyone too, and they came out really nice, and they have like little tassel and stuff. It's a cool bookmark. But so we're just trying to add value because everybody's money is incredibly precious right now, and if you're going to spend it on something silly like a book or a movie or something, we want to make sure that you feel good about your purchase. And that's just kind of the Rough House way. That's what they've always done with their comics and everything like that. It's not just about getting an issue or a novel. It's about getting a collectible and feeling like, you got something really cool that you're going to geek out over. And that's basically our hope. So it's amazing to hear, I can't even tell you, like, it's overwhelming to hear everything you guys are just saying. And other people have said about the book so far. I'm so happy it's finally out today. It's been a long time coming. It's been, I've been working on this almost nonstop since the summer when we decided back in April that we were going to do this and release it now because originally we weren't going to put this out as the first Rough House book. The first Rough House book was going to be a deluxe edition of the Bone Eater King. And we decided to swap them and do something new first. And I'm just so happy that, Derek Rook, had faith in me, had faith in the project, and we were able to do this and get it out to all you guys. And for those of you who entered the contest and who have purchased the book, I just can't wait for you to get it and read it. And hopefully you love it and, shout back at me. The way I look at it is everybody who buys any of my stuff is my pal. So absolutely reach out back to me on Facebook and Twitter and let me know what you think. And, reviews, leave an author review is just a good piece of advice for anyone at any time in life. We need those. So if you enjoy the book, please, find some place you can leave a review for me. That'd be just amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull the winner. And Phil, I know you got a hard out in just a couple minutes. So we'll pull the winner. Then we'll get your where people can follow you.
Sounds good.
Let you drop. Let me find it right here. Okay. Ready to award. Patty Mouse. Patty Mouse is the winner.
Hooray! That's not me. Just so you know.
So look for your email. I'm going to give your email over to Steve. He will reach out to you to get your information.
Absolutely.
And definitely, keep an eye on your spam or just reach out to him on the Facebook.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. And I will sign it any way you want. And I will get those out to you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who submitted for the contest. It's amazing. Damien's bummed. Damien's bummed. He really wanted it. He said he entered 27 times or something.
I will say one thing that it's a little bit of a spoiler. Nobody knew about this except me. The Witchworm's name is actually Mittens.
It's never Mittens.
I know we got another question from Ashes, and if you guys got a little bit more time, we'll continue, but we'll let Phil drop. Phil, where do you like people interacting with you?
Sure. Folks can go to www.darkdiscussions.com, which is the Dark Discussions News Network. So speculative fiction, horror, whatever, podcasting, and all there. And in the Facebook group, Dark Discussions Podcast Facebook group. And congratulations on the new book. That's great.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate it, man.
Yep, absolutely. It was nice. I've known you on Facebook, but it's good to actually talk to you in person for once. So, well, absolutely. Not person, but you know what I'm saying. So, all right, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you, and we'll see you, everybody that's watching next week.
Sounds good.
Bye, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, bye, PJ. Talk to you later. Bye, Leo.
Yeah, definitely check out Dark Discussions Podcast Network. They got lot of awesome people over there. So, we love those guys. We've been friends with them for a long time. So, Mark of the Witchworm, links in the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Steve, for those of us that ordered it, because I just checked my receipt, I did order it. When should we receive it?
They are supposed to be, I've been told they're going to be shipping within another week. We were still waiting on the printing of the poster to come back. And it's just a matter of, it takes a little bit of time to wrap everything up. Everything's going to be coming shrink wrapped and in this just awesome, gorgeous black roughhouse envelope. And you're going to love it. So if I've been told it's going to hopefully take another week or so to ship, but soon. And you can take that up with Roughhouse. That's out of my hands at this point.
So I should show up at your house tomorrow afternoon expecting it?
I mean, I wouldn't. We got a plague, man. We got a plague. I'm going to cough on you or something. You never know what's going to happen.
I will wear my my Amazon Prime outfit again.
Okay. Till All Are One. Is that the Prime that I'm thinking of?
It's different guy. Different guy.
Something.
But,
okay. Something else I meant to mention, I knew I was going to forget. The other cool thing about the hardcover is it actually has almost 40 extra pages. So what we did was I had written a short story that's like in the world of, and so this right here says Roughhouse exclusive. It's a previous adventure for the character Crow. And this is just some other adventure that he had gone on, and it ties in, a little bit to the main story. It kind of gives you background on some small element that is in the story. And after that, there's actually artwork. Oh,
awesome.
Ooh.
So there's 14 pages of artwork, 14, 15 pages, something like that. And there's character sketches. I did a lot of these. I did this one here. This is we have Belmorn and the other character is Rivka. And there's just a bunch of stuff in here. It's pretty cool. So we also did that. So just saying, I forgot to mention that. But there is literally almost 40 pages. I think it's like 38 extra pages.
Well, that's why I got the Ultra Mega Deluxe Double Secret Probation Edition.
I don't remember that one, but I mean, that sounds good.
It's whatever like the most expensive one was.
I think Ultimate maybe might be the word. I mean,
it seems like downplaying it.
You're,
I think I got the 8-inch
it's
version.
Like what Greg said, it's the economy of words.
Yes. So I've got a question. Steve, make me feel better. Is there anything you're not good at? Because we've gotten you've mentioned you were in a band, and I've heard them. They're good. The book, the artwork now. So
I am absolute rubbish at Fortnite.
Yeah, me too.
Rubbish.
I also deride your high-ally skills.
There we go. Yeah, I don't like Fortnite because there's a lot of like 13-year-olds that apparently have had sex with my mom on there.
Isn't that weird?
There's a conversation with your mom coming up that's going to be really awkward.
Yeah. I know, right? And be like, there's these Fortnite kids.
How good is she? Is she good?
At Fortnite? I don't know.
Fortnite.
Yes.
Damien's asking, what band are you in?
The band was Enchanted Exile. We put out 2 albums.
I just happened to be
Alchemy,
wearing the
there you
shirt.
go. He's also in the band. He was a keyboardist. I was a singer. Together with our good friends Nintendo, who's also in the Ridoctopus podcast, was guitarist, and Greg Carcione was the bassist. And we did a lot of stuff together over the years. And it culminated into a couple albums, but we kind of have put that aside to concentrate on other stuff because really there's only so much time in a day, in a week.
If you listen to Throwdown Thursday when we do a new battle, we always play the new battle theme. And that is also a gift from us from Enchanted Exile.
That's enchanted. I think it's funny you still call it the new battle theme. You've been playing it for 3 years.
Well, there's no other newer theme.
Yeah, it's the newest one we have.
Mm-hmm. I think you could drop the new. I think you could just call it the battle theme at this point.
You know, we're coming up on 250 episodes. I get my name wrong sometimes. So I get Ash's names wrong sometimes because I keep bouncing back and forth between the two different shows. Sometimes, like on the sports show, she's Slashes, but on our show, she's Ashes. So I kind of bounce back and forth.
Sometimes she calls you Betamax Bill.
Yes. Grogert, like, you know, there's a whole lot. You know, the Funky Phantom, she calls me sometimes. It's really weird.
It's good. It's good.
Well, speaking of Ashes, she had a question, Patrick. Would you like to read her question?
It says, she's just yelling because she's about 20 seconds behind. She's watching in the other room. She's like, that's a lie. What advice would you give to writing neophytes / those who are looking to get back into the writing world?
I think that Chris Philbrook is much more equipped to answer this, but I'll just give it a whirl. I would say that if it's something that you want to do, that you enjoy doing, that you feel like you have to do, any of those, I would say just the best advice is to just do it, and to not worry about how terrible it might be. Try to get to the end and finish whatever it is that you're trying to get out. And at the very end of it, have some people read it. If maybe it's not awesome, don't be crushed. Don't give up. Don't say that was a waste of time, because it's not. It's not if you learn from it. So, you know, nothing is going to be perfect, and no thing that's almost perfect is for everyone. So it's just a matter of if this thing that you made, that you poured your heart and soul into, was flawed, then it was still the best that you could make it at that particular moment in time. And that the thing to do is not to worry about it. The thing to do is to make the next thing better, and just to keep going. And if it's something that you feel you need to do, I would say do that.
What about you, Chris?
I think, you know, Steve talking about writing for yourself is really the key. It's such an intensely personal, revealing, time-consuming process that if you're trying to get back into writing, you need to make sure that you're writing for yourself, not trying to write to please anyone but you, or maybe a couple of close friends. Because if you're passionate about what you're writing about, and you feel good about it, it will be entertaining and it will be fun. And if you want to put it in front of people and try and find an audience for it, there are going to be people who resonate with it. It might be really hard to find them, but as long as you're writing and you're enjoying it and you're passionate about it and you're creating something that you feel good about, everything else will fall together. You know, marketing as an author is one thing, and trying to get published and submitting and querying and the business side of it is a completely separate animal. But writing for yourself is the key, because it gets the story written, and then you can do whatever the hell you want with it.
That sounds about right. I would say if anyone was asking me, and I don't know if they were, but if anyone was asking me, I would just point out that not everyone, like, you know, what Chris was saying, not everyone is going to like what you like. There's nothing that has universal appeal. Just remember that. Just remember that, you know, there are people who came out and thought that, you know, see, I used to question my writing. I'm like, oh, it's not good. Nobody's going to like it. No one's going to want to read what I wrote. And then I read The Mangler by Stephen King, which is about a haunted laundry machine that gains sentience and murders people. And they made that into a movie, and then that movie got a sequel as well. So I just want to throw it out there that, you know, like the contemporary, example that people use all the time is Sharknado. But I think a Sharknado is far more plausible than a laundry machine gaining sentience and murdering people. So just remember that there's going to be an audience for whatever you create. And like Chris said, it's sometimes it's tough to find that audience. I had a great conversation with someone who was like, "Oh, you're a writer. That's so great. Oh, what's the name of your book?" And it's like, "Oh, it's How Much Do You Tip an Exorcist?" She's like, "Well, I'm a very, very hardcore Christian." And I'm like, "Well, it's probably not for you." So
the Exorcist story is like on one page. Just tell her like there's other stuff to enjoy.
There is, but I feel that given the subject matter of that, she probably wouldn't enjoy it. But again, that's the thing. Like, people might be interested, and then like, I got a bad review, and I don't know why. Like, they didn't leave any feedback. It's like, well, tell me what I did wrong and figure out, if I can work on that. Or if it's just that maybe they didn't like it. That's fine. And just remember, it's like they said in Wayne's World. The Beatles didn't make songs that everybody loved. They left that to the Bee Gees.
What about the shitty Beatles?
It's not just a clever name. Just remember, again, like there's nothing that has universal appeal, and like I always say, that's why they make chocolate and vanilla.
That's true.
I'm just curious about the sentient washing machine. What the hell movie was that?
The Mangler.
Oh, it was okay.
It was a laundry machine. It wasn't a washing machine. It was like one of those big industrial presses, from like turn of the century industrial revolution, probably operated by 7-year-olds who couldn't cut it in the coal mine, so they worked in the laundry room. But he wrote it while working in a laundromat with those types of machines, and also lots of cocaine.
The cocaine is the key. That's
yes.
the key. I mean, let's be real. Like, King loves to bring inanimate stuff to life and make them evil. I mean, the Mangler is just in a series. Of course, Christine being the greatest of that series.
I think you're biased against that.
Why? Because I like cars?
No, because you like Christine.
Oh, well, maybe. Maybe my wife might have that name as well. It's possible.
Yes, and she is not a car.
No, she is not a car. She does have red hair.
Yes, and
yes, not cherry red, but
you do want to avoid her fury.
Patsy, this section of the podcast is when everyone's tuning out. They're like, "Oh my God, this is bad. This is bad. What happened?"
I don't know. See, I think the people that are here, that are watching, that love you, they're liking this. Like, I can look it over there at 8-inch Alchemy, and he's very much enjoying this section.
But I'm not the people you have to convince. I'm the given. I'm the freebie. But yes, I am enjoying this.
So I had just a goofy question I wanted to ask. So to Chris and Tim and Greg, who have read the book, let's ask this goofy scenario just for fun. If the witchworm were to get in a fight with, and I'm going to name each of you a specific movie villain, who do you think would win? Okay, you ready for this?
Fair enough.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Greg.
Yes.
Witchworm versus Jason Voorhees. Who wins? And why?
We're going Witchworm. Teeth. Quicker movement. I think Witchworm would take it, although there's going to be some severe machete hacks along the Witchworm's body. There's going to be some scarring.
Keep in mind, you can mention the powers of the Witchworm. It's fine. Because at this point, no one's watching it. I think it's 9:30. UK girl's gone to bed.
No, she's here. Ordering.
Yeah.
Angelina's still here.
Angelina,
I just sent Angelina the link to the book because she was having a hard time.
You don't get a good night's sleep tonight.
Angelina's still here. Colleen is still here. Colleen says this is her favorite part. And Damien's still here. He's watching in the future. He already knows what the answers are.
There's still about 20 people watching right now. And Tim, thanks for sending that to Angelina.
Yeah, no problem. I saw that she was having a hard time with the link, so I figured I'd forward it to her. And I don't know.
Awesome.
Hopefully it worked out.
Yeah, if she still has problems, I think she could probably email Rough House Publishing as well. They could probably help her out.
She didn't fly to Steve's house.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can always contact me on Facebook if you have any questions at all. You can always go to Rough House Publishing on Facebook and contact them directly, or I can do it for you. Either way, we want to make you happy. That's for sure. So yeah, contact us. We're there. All right. So 8-bit.
Yes.
Witchworm or Godzilla?
Why must you do this to me? Why must you do this to me?
I mean, the answer is very obvious. You can say it.
It's Godzilla.
Yeah. Why?
It's Godzilla. It's the king,
it's
king
Godzilla.
of the monsters. He's the king.
Yeah.
He's the king of all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to fight against, atomic laser blast.
Maybe with that attitude
as well.
Yeah. It's
greater
it's
than
Godzilla. Godzilla with a landslide. Greater than 8 inches.
Yeah. Godzilla with a land. I agree with that. Chris Philbrook.
Yeah.
Witchworm or Smaug?
Oh, I think
the size difference here too.
Yeah. You know what though? I think the Witchworm would probably win, if only because it would force a draw. Because I think the Witchworm has some abilities to move around time and space in a way that Smaug doesn't really have an answer for. So yeah, I think it would be a draw leaning towards the Witchworm.
Gotcha.
But speaking of Godzilla and the Witchworm, what I really think you need to take from that question, Steve, is do I want to write kaiju erotica?
Yes.
Because I think there's a love story there. There's a really just a poignant moment where Godzilla looks down, Witchworm looks up, the stars align.
I think the better question is, have I already written this?
I mean,
yes.
You hear that? Cha-ching.
So you guys discussed this beforehand. Be like, could you please tease my next project?
Seriously. You need a new imprint for Rough House.
Kaiju erotica, bound chicka, Kierk.
Money.
Yeah.
Do it.
So that's my goofy question. I can't ask Leo or Patsy because you guys haven't read it yet.
Well, it's funny that you asked that question because I was actually getting ready to ask that question at the end of the show because Steve actually gave me a list of questions. So here's one of the ones. He's like, make sure you ask these during the show. And one of them was, Steve, how do you write so good and still be so handsome at the same time? Make it sound natural.
It's a family business, baby. Family business.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Steve, did I read the question good?
You did a bad job.
Oh,
very obvious.
We're still live.
Oh, crap. Wait, this is live?
No, it's Memorex.
Oh, good.
We're recording. We're coming to you live on Betamax.
Betamax Bill in for the win.
Yeah. We're on Horse Thor tonight. All night, folks.
I believe he prefers to be called Thorse.
I think
like the singer. Who looks like the singer from Disturbed?
Our mutual friend Santino Mancebo of Amalgamania coined a very good term for Beta Ray Bill. He calls him Bojack Thorsman.
Ooh, that's very good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And we'll order again in 3 hours when I watch the
Thank you, Angelina, so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. I don't know you at all, so this is extra fun. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the book. And thank you for your order in 3 hours.
Steve looks like David Draymond. Steve, sing us a song.
Who's that?
The lead singer of Disturbed.
Oh God!
Sing the sound of silence the way he sings it.
I'm not your monkey, Patsy.
Dance, puppet. Watch as she dances.
I will sneak into your house and I will shave off half of your mustache.
No, you won't. You don't even know the combination of my door.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same as the combination on your luggage.
Damn it!
I do have a final question for you, Steve. As you are a big fan of Mel Brooks films,
yes,
is is there a scene similar to Young Frankenstein when someone mentions the witchworm and they're like, witchworm, and it devolves into like an Abbott and Costello?
Yeah, so it's witchworm, their castle. Why are we talking like this? I don't know. I thought you wanted to.
Like who's on first base? Like witchworm, that one over there.
Yep. Yes, there is not a scene like that.
Oh, now I need my money back.
Gotta unpre-order it.
Too late. We already spent it.
Ah, on more bookmarks,
on more pins.
I do like the pins.
Yeah,
I do. I'm a big fan of the pin. Wait, what does a W stand for?
Wins.
Oh, I thought it was like for Steve.
No, we were gonna print the other one with the L, and then we realized no one would want that one.
That's true. That's true.
So we're like, nope, winning all the time.
That W.
So if you're like worried about people knowing that you're a winner, you just pop this right on your shirt or your face, anywhere. You know, these pins probably go through flesh. I haven't tried, but I mean, it depends on how. Like,
will it work
hardcore
on my
you are.
nipples, Steve?
I mean, Damien's from Australia. He's hardcore as hell. I mean, oh my, they have the real Pokemon there. They have like the black snakes and the drop bears and stuff. They have the serious ones.
Danger everywhere.
Only animals scarier than the ones that are outside of my house right now. Meth alligators.
The alligators. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the guard at the.
Oh, that would make a great
the wrestling guys.
Yeah, we got wrestling guys and meth alligators.
I wouldn't put that on my belt buckle because I have to use a boomerang to put my belt on, and I would be afraid that it would fly off and I would lose it.
Does every picture of you have to be taken from aerial view?
Yes, from a satellite, like an unmanned drone.
Okay.
I'm just glad we established that.
Hold on here. Meth alligators? What are meth alligators?
The name is pretty. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Let him answer. Let him.
That would be an alligator on meth. It's Florida, you know. Like there's the Florida man. There's always something crazy going on. I have never been Florida man, which is good. I technically really claim Pittsburgh. That's where I was born.
Pittsburgh man.
Yeah, but every so often you run into Florida man, and you're like, this is what you hear about on the news down here.
Don't you guys also have an issue with boa constrictors and like mating with like anacondas or something like that?
So in South Florida, I guess a lot of the college kids at some point when they bought iguanas, and when they left, they just let the iguanas go. So after 2-3 years, but it turns out iguanas can thrive in South Florida. So there are iguanas all over the side of the roads. I don't know if you've been around here, but they have a lot of canals, and they're across some of the canals are like pipes, like sprinkler pipes. And you see all these iguanas laying on it, like big, giant green iguanas. But when it gets cold, they go docile. And if you're walking, which you tend to do when it's cold, there's actually warnings for iguanas falling out of trees. So there will be an iguana warning on the news. Be careful, because the iguanas will plummet out of the tree, and these things weigh like 20, 30 pounds. If you get hit by a passed out iguana, it's going to hurt.
I mean, then you're going to be Florida man.
Yeah.
That's how you become Florida. That's the origin story for Florida man.
You get hit by a frozen iguana.
Yep.
And then you're in so much pain, you try meth.
And then Florida man was knocked out by frozen iguana. Yeah. Tried meth.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. Now the rest of the story of the iguanas is that they're not dead; they're just frozen. So people pick them up and put them in their car, thinking whatever, and the car warms them up, and then these people are stuck with these feral iguanas frantically trying to get out of a car.
And the iguana's like, "I'm not dead. I got."
They're all like, "Iguana, get out of here!"
Yes. Strong.
I actually lived for a short stint in southern Florida, and my first day there, the geckos are everywhere.
Yep.
I had like a gecko fall on my shoulder, and then a couple days
Try
later,
to sell you insurance.
It did. Yeah. But then a couple days later, I almost got tagged by a group of coconuts falling from a tree.
Yeah, there's just things flying through the air down there. Which
You only
part
get
of South
tagged
Florida?
by a group of coconuts.
Naples.
Oh, okay. So the western side, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a lovely bunch of coconuts all standing in a row?
Deedly dee. Angelina said she gets conger eels, which are the scariest thing that they get. I think.
What about soccer hooligans, Angelina?
Frozen iguana kind of takes the cake there.
I'm looking up conger eels here.
They just can't be worse. I refuse to believe it.
Plummeting.
They look kind of. Yeah, I wouldn't want to run into one of those.
I don't know. I still think Damien wins because he has spiders the size of small children.
Yeah, like Labrador-sized spiders.
Scariest Pokemon by far.
Oh yeah,
hands down, by far.
Facebook.
Leo, yes. I'm reading this. I know you were about to read it, but it says my aunt and uncle worked on a building project in Florida a decade plus ago, and one of the huge issues they were running into was the iguana infestation. While you were there, you should have brought your dual wielding axes and cleared out the iguanas. Leo dual wields axes and kills snakes.
Well, Leo's a total badass, guys.
That's
like
badass.
You can't.
I think the real question is Leo versus the witchworm. Who wins?
Sounds like Leo Pond. Leo Pond wins that one for
Sounds
sure.
like Leo.
I know you guys think I'm making fun of him, but that's a real story that actually happened, and I always tell it all the time because it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I moved back up from Florida, I moved back into my parents' old farmhouse, and I found out that summer that the house was sort of infested with snakes.
Yikes!
Yeah,
he was like, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
So you got your shillelagh stick, right?
Oh, it's we used to do a lot of chopping of wood, so we had a lot of axes around. So I had axes to take out the snakes. There was one time, so when it gets really hot, the snakes would. Now these are over 6 foot snakes. These are big snakes. There was one day where one was crawling up the wall. I used one axe to pull it down and the other one to dispatch of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
That's like Viking.
There were 2 words. I didn't like their
Vikings.
infestation and snakes.
Yeah, snakes. Yeah, I was killing about a dozen a summer. The day I found out that there was snakes, I kept on hearing a noise underneath the washing machine when I was doing laundry. So I was trying to figure out what it was, and so I decided to look around the washing machine, and I see a black tail. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I start looking around, and there's a snake in the hallway in front of me. I look up, and then there's a snake above me as well.
What kind of snakes are these?
Snakes to the left of him, vipers to the right, stuck in the middle of you.
You looked to the snake in the ceiling and you said, "Clever girl," and then you died.
Yeah,
magnificently. It was amazing, and you were everyone's favorite character in that movie because you wore an Australian guy's hat, even though you were not Australian at all. It was awesome. It was an awesome scene. In your life.
I left my laundry there, backed away, closed the door, and then put
Lit the building on fire.
Sealed it off like the cask of Amontillado. Never did laundry ever again.
But I heard a big crash in the back, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. And it was 2 large snakes mating. They were thrashing around and knocking stuff off shelves.
Leo's like, room for one more?
Angelina says I would leave my house and cry in the woods.
Right, that's where the snakes are, Angelina.
Now, did the snakes move faster in the puddles of urine forming around your feet, or did that make them slither and go slower?
Oh my God, is that the Leo Pond?
Yes, that is the Leo Pond.
Actually, she talks about crying. There was one day that my fiance at the time, now my wife, she drove up, and I'm doing a live show, and she calls me utterly crying. There was a rather large snake crawling up the side of the house.
Wow.
And she didn't want to come in. So that day she went back to her parents.
So is this Connecticut?
Connecticut, yeah.
Wow, didn't know about all them snakes in Connecticut.
Yeah, well,
I heard there wasn't a lot to do at Connecticut.
All of them were at Leo's house, the entire population.
The entire population.
Yeah. Well, the neighbor that was renting the house above us, up on the hill, this is all farmland, like way out in the boonies, dirt road and stuff. And he was telling me that he was having problems with putting in a new boiler because he had so many snakes in his basement. I'm like, what the fuck? So he must have scared him down to my house.
And then you were single-handedly responsible for putting like 3 species on the endangered list.
The watch list.
The threatened list, if not.
I kept on dispatching them until they kept on getting smaller and smaller. So the older ones went first and then the youngins. And then I moved out.
So the witchworm would be probably really pissed at you, I think, because it is a part snake.
Yeah. A lot of people.
I think maybe, I don't know. I mean, you have 2 axes though.
Yeah.
See, Leo, you need to write this down and tell this story like Quint telling the story of the USS Indianapolis. I don't know how many snakes, maybe 1,000. Think about a snake. He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye. Comes at you, don't seem to be living. Like, you got to write the whole thing out. And then you talk about killing them with your axes.
Sounds good. I'll give that a try.
The problem is that like Leo's just too huggable to pull that off, I think. Like Quint.
Well, it's always so funny like when I prompt Leo into telling the story, because everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Leo dual wielding axes and killing snakes," and he's like, "Yeah, it was a really dark time in my life, and I don't like talking about it, but here goes." Like he just gets this 1,000-yard stare, like friggin' Dolph Lundgren in Universal Soldier, and just like loses his mind. Snakes everywhere.
Yeah. And the ears come off. That's when the ears come off.
Well, I want to thank you so much for making this a very enjoyable evening. I want to remind everybody, Mark of the Witchworm is available now. There's a link down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And I urge you definitely go buy it right now. Colleen, what did she say? Even though I've heard the snake story before, it still terrifies me. Yeah. Yeah, even when Patsy reminds me of it, it's I get flashbacks. It's just
it's like that meme of the dog that like sees like all the helicopters in the background.
Well, even now, if I want to go up and check on the house, I make sure it's before the spring. So
I haven't been able to eat Twizzlers for 18 years. Just forget about taking me to a spaghetti store.
Thank you, Damien. I really appreciate it, man. I hope you did dig the book. And thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you for everybody who's been hanging out with us.
To everyone who showed up tonight.
My insanity.
This has been really fun. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Patsy and Phil. Thank you to everybody at the Dorkening and for having us on Indie Creator Spotlight, especially since you've already had me on Indie Creator Spotlight for this book. So like this is like extra insanely nice of you guys to accommodate me and have everybody on. And I hope that people had fun watching the show, and I hope you check out the book. And if you do, say hi on Facebook, say hi on Twitter. I'm around. Thank you, Colleen, so much.
I can't wait to check out Chris's books and check out the Give Me 5 podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited to check you guys out. I am very familiar with 8-Inch Alchemy because he did the theme song, the closing theme for the Shark Bites podcast. It's very awesome, very inspired by Jaws.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure to work on that for you. And actually, at the top of the show, there was a little bit of my music actually, featured in the Dorkening too. That Nintendo NES style music was mine. And thank you, Leo, and thank you, Patsy, for being interested in my work and giving me fun projects to work on and contribute to your shows and just keep the love going around and it's important for everybody. So it's a ton of fun. I love doing those songs for you guys, and I'm happy for anybody else interested in that kind of stuff. You can seek me out on Facebook through the Retro Ridoctopus page, or you can look me up 8-Bit Alchemy on YouTube, and you can find some of my music there as well. So thank you guys.
How about Chris? Where do you like people interacting with you on social media?
I mostly tend to stick to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find me by plugging in my name or Philbrook author, which wasn't taken. And right now, kind of a unique thing, I have a Kickstarter running to build some support for a new horror series I'm starting. And if anyone wanted to check that out, that would be great. Just head to Kickstarter and type in Diggory Finch and check that out. That'd be great.
Awesome. Greg?
Yes. Hello. To reach me, first of all, it's the Give Me 5 podcast. You just spell out the 5. We are pretty much everywhere. Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of those fun places. We release episodes on Wednesday, which is kind of the more modern stuff, reviews and conversation. On Wednesday, we also talk about random Florida dudes. We do have a Florida section called WTF, Welcome to Florida, which is always fun. It started when a guy, we weren't planning on doing this, but it started when a guy dressed as the Easter Bunny punched a dude on Easter Eve, the night before Easter downtown. And we're like, well, that was a weird story. We should talk about it. And then the next week, something also weird happened. And we have yet to not have an evening where something weird doesn't happen. So we got that. So yeah, we do that. And then, of course, on Monday, we do our old, terrible, crappy movie reviews. And we sometimes have guests, and it's lots of fun. You can, again, find that really anywhere by searching the Give Me 5 podcast. We have a website, giveme5podcast.com. And I guess both Twitter and Instagram is Give Me 5 Pod. So we get to, I guess, take pictures of random crap that happens in Florida as well as other things. So that's us.
Very cool. We'll check that out. Steve?
Yeah, find me on Facebook or Twitter. It's Steve Van Samson. I'm at Steve Van Samson on Twitter. And if you just do a search, just make sure that there's no P in Samson, and you will find me no problem. Steve Van Samson. You can get my first 2 books, which are my vampire books, which are The Bone Eater King and its sequel, Marrow Dust. And those are available on Amazon, or you can always message me if you are interested in signed copies. I have a few just in stock because guess what I didn't do this year, like all authors? Go to cons to sell my wares. So I just got some like laying around the house. Yeah, say hey, and roughhousepublishing.com for all the awesome versions of Mark of the Witchworm. You can only buy there. And I'll tell you that the hardcover edition is what almost everybody has bought. So there's a total of 150. So I don't know how many of those are going to be left after tonight and today. But if you're interested, I would suggest snagging it kind of soon. But the, soft covers aren't going anywhere, but, check them out, buy them, do whatever, read them, say you liked them, say you hated them. I'm not one to control your destiny, people. I'm just trying to write some books. Yeah, not with that. That's true. Yeah. Anyway, it was really fun and awesome. And thank you to everybody who's been here, and to Tim and to Chris and to Greg and Patsy and Leo. And thank you so much.
And the puppy that's over there.
Yeah, the puppy made it into the office.
Oh,
and he's
thank you to the puppy as well.
This is Angus. He's 10 months old and would have been eating all of my wires if I did pick him up. So
so if you want to follow everybody here, there are links in the show notes down below or above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Patsy, where do you Hi. Where do you like people interacting with you?
Lots of different places, but at least 6 feet away. I would say the best place to find all of our stuff is you can go to throwdownthursdaypodcast.com and find everything that's under the Throwdown Thursday umbrella, which includes Shark Bites, which includes the Loudest Sports Show, which includes obviously Throwdown Thursday as well. But the website gives you links to all of our stuff, including our YouTube page, where we will post our live videos. I do live reaction to trailers I just started doing. I did that for Godzilla vs. Kong. Also, Angelina is looking for some personalized message from Steve. So, Steve, make sure you get on that.
Absolutely.
This week on the Loudest Sports Show, we're going to be featuring a guest, Mr. Craig Allen from the Strong-Willed Sports Memorabilia Group that has raised tens of thousands of dollars for childhood cancer research. So if you get a chance, check out the show, and we'll have links to all those groups over there. They're doing lots of really, really good stuff, and it's a charity that is very near and dear to Craig and his family. We will also be, let's see. Oh, we have a very special guest on this week's episode of Throwdown Thursday. She's actually watching the show with us right now. Colleen is going to be on. We are talking Resident Evil. Other than that, join our Facebook groups. There's always some crazy fun stuff going on. As you see, I have a lot of sports memorabilia behind me. If you are a sports memorabilia person, I have been raffling off, for lack of a better term, some of my sports memorabilia and some of the stuff that I have gotten in. So far, we've given away, well, not given away, but we've dropped a full-size Oilers helmet for Earl Campbell, a mini helmet, a mini Raiders helmet, and earlier this evening, we dropped an authentic signed NBA jersey. Everything we have is autographed, and we've got some Celtics and Patriots stuff coming up. So if that's something you're interested in, join the Loudest Sports Show, because I do that occasionally as well.
Awesome. And did I get everybody? I got everybody right.
You didn't do Leo Pond.
Oh, you know what? I keep on forgetting about myself. So for me, just Google Leo Pond. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but more importantly, follow these awesome people here. Go check out Mark of the Witchworm and head on over to thedorkening.com, which you can find over 30 shows on a network now. A lot of tons of stuff going on. And I do a bunch of shows every week. You can find us here every Monday for Indie Creator Spotlight. Tuesday, we're doing Splash Pages to Comic Book Club. Wednesday, I'm producing the Still Token With for the Token Dead guys. And then we're doing the Dorkening show. And that's about it. And I take some time off. With that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.